What if I told you that a team that was in last place with just 3 months left to go in the season would end up winning the Stanley Cup? Hi, I'm Evan Huss, and this is my speech commemorating the Blues' Stanley Cup victory. To start out with, we're going to have to go back to the beginning of the year. It wasn't the greatest start for the Blues, who had high expectations coming into the season. Just a few months into the year, our head coach Mike Yeo was fired after a game I attended. This is that game. You can see here, we got shut out by the Kings, who had an even worse record than us. And after that game, Blues management decided that they were done with Mike Yeo. Immediately following that, Craig Berube was hired as interim head coach. But the turnaround didn't start immediately. A few weeks later, the Blues entered their lowest point. They were last place in the entire NHL, 31st out of 31. But that's when the turnaround started. Jordan Bennington made his first NHL start on January 7th, 2019. He got a shutout in his first ever start. And after that, he was quickly named the Blues starter. Another fun fact about this game, this was actually the game where the Blues first played the song Gloria in the locker room after winning. It's a cool coincidence. Shortly after that, they went on a 10-game winning streak. So you can see they started the streak 21, 22, and 5, and when the streak was over, they were 32, 22, and 5. So that's a 20-point swing in the standings, which helped boost them up. It was definitely a high point in the regular season. Following this, the Blues qualified for the playoffs. They finished in second place in the division at 45, 28, and 9. In the first round, they would play the Winnipeg Jets, who, even though finished with a worse record than the Blues, were favorited in the series. That series lasted 6 games. Blues won the first game, won the second game, lost the third game at home, lost the fourth game at home, won in Winnipeg, and then won at home to knock the Jets out of the playoffs. Next up were the Dallas Stars, who were also favorited in the series. The series would prove tougher for the Blues. It lasted 7 games and they played from behind. Blues won Game 1, but they lost Game 2, won Game 3, lost Game 4, lost Game 5, meaning they would have to win 2 in a row in order to not get eliminated. Game 6, they won in Dallas on the road, which is huge. And Game 7 is maybe the best game of the entire playoffs. It went into double overtime. Stars goalie Ben Bishop made 52 saves, but it wasn't enough. Patrick Maroon's OT winner sent the Blues to the Western Conference Finals. In the Western Conference Finals, they played San Jose. San Jose was again favorited, and they had a really good team that year. But the Blues took advantage of their physical play and were able to injure some of their star players en route to a series victory. They lost Game 1, they won Game 2, they lost Game 3 on a blown call by the refs, and then they won Game 4, 5, and 6 to advance to the Stanley Cup Finals. In the Stanley Cup Finals, they'd be playing the Boston Bruins, another really good team with stars such as goalie Tuukka Rask, Brad Marchand, and Patrice Bergeron. The Bruins were a much more offensive team, and the Blues are a much more defensive team which led to a really interesting series to watch. It was very back and forth, as you can tell here. Game 1, the Blues lost in Boston. They came back and won Game 2 in overtime on a shot from defenseman Carl Gunnarsson. The first home game of the series, they were destroyed 7-2, but bounced back and won 4-2. They then won Game 5 in Boston, meaning they could win the series in Game 6 in St. Louis, but Boston came back strong and won 5-1. This would force a Game 7 in Boston, and everyone thought Boston seemed to have the advantage. As you can see here, the Blues ended up winning 4-1. And just by the box score, it looks like the Blues dominated, going up 4-0 before Boston scored a garbage time goal. That's really not how it went. Boston dominated the first period, and we were able to score on our first shot and then on our third shot. And Jordan Binnington had to make at least 15 saves in the first period. After that, the Blues settled into their defensive game and were able to bring home the championship. This was the Blues' first ever Stanley Cup, and hopefully first of many. Thank you.